Good evening and happy Easter, everybody. I am the Mad Dog, Mike Angus. Welcome to Powered 4's Added Time. This is episode 9, and this week we are back in the Premier League. We're also going to go through the World Cup qualifiers. We've got a very special guest for you as well, everybody. And one last thing, who was the hardest man in football? You will find out tonight on Added Time. Good evening, everybody. I hope you've had a wonderful Easter, nice afternoon with the family. Lots of chocolate Easter eggs and Easter egg hunts and roast dinners and all sorts. We have got a great show for you this evening, and we are joined by some wonderful guests. First of all, let me introduce to you the man who is the Welsh Wizard. This is Stewie Palmer.
All right, Michael. It's been a few weeks. I tell you what, though, props to Chris. He's been covering me for a fair few weeks. He's done a fantastic job. Good to be back, Michael. Good to be back.
Wonderful to have you back in, my friend. And how has Wales been treating you this week? What have you been up to? Anything exciting?
Just the same old, really, Mike. A bit of walking. No Easter roast dinner today, but yeah, we had a nice walk and that. So yeah, all good this end, mate.
Great, mate. Brilliant to have you back. Also, our next guest is the fox in the box himself, Mr. Steve Watkins. How are you, Steve?
I'm not bad. How are you?
Yeah, great. Not bad at all. Had a brilliant day. Probably had a few too many Easter eggs, as I normally do. So, yeah, I'm flying high this evening.
Good stuff. Yeah, I've had a little bit too much chocolate today, but no, it's been a good day. Not long on a barbecue, so happy days.
Great stuff. And we are joined by a very special guest this evening, guys. He is an actor, a teacher, a professional wrestler, and an all-round great guy. Someone I really enjoy working with. He is, unfortunately for himself, a Burnley fan, though. At this time, let me introduce H. Hadri. H, thanks for joining us.
Cheers. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honour to be on. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Brilliant, mate. Oh, it's really good to catch up with you. Now, we'll just speak to H for a moment before we get on with the Premier League results, guys. So, H, tell us, what have you been up to during lockdown? I know you've been so busy. I've seen you getting all sorts of acting roles, new wrestling promotions every different week. You're smashing it, mate. And it's really great to see. So tell us, what have you been up to?
No, thank you so much. It's, I think I just wanted to take advantage of the lockdown with sort of, as you know yourself, Mike, when wrestling's up and running, it's so busy because it's just moving from one show to another show every week. You know, especially sort of at my age, you know, the kids see me limping down the corridor and think, what the heck is wrong with him? You know what I mean? So I'm always trying to recover. And I think I just took advantage of the break and I tried to dip into more the promo side of stuff. And then I sort of landed a music video role to begin with, which was just basically as an extra, as a bouncer. And I met some sort of agents on that music video, which led me through some of the sort of roles that I've been blessed and fortunate to have auditions for and then finally got. So I'm really excited. It's a new chapter with the acting side, and fingers crossed, you know, there's more to it to come. So,
mate, absolutely brilliant. Congratulations. It's brilliant to see. And I know as well, you've been announced for a couple of different wrestling companies. A really interesting one. You're going to be going out to Dubai to do some wrestling in Dubai. Yeah. And another great one for me, obviously, Superstar Pro Wrestling in Liverpool. Me and Stu are going to be commentating on that. So we're looking forward to seeing you back in action there. And yeah, tell us about
yeah.
those. Yeah, you've got so much coming up, mate. You're going to be hectic again.
Yeah, it's going to be madness. But no, I'm really looking for. As you know, Mike, I've always aspired to work with yourself and Jay, just purely because of how you guys are, and you've built from sort of TNT, and it's fantastic. So if it can sort of help out, and one of the branching outs as part of that would be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to that. And then sort of the Dubai stuff again. That's going to be a brand new challenge. I've never wrestled abroad before, so kind of my first time sort of going in there. I don't know, it's going to be weird, I think, because I think I'm being drafted in as a face as well. I'm usually used to getting all boos, so you know what I mean. Well, fingers crossed, I hope I do get cheered. It just might be my face rather than anything. So.
Mate, they'll love you. Just don't be doing it.
I support one or the other. So.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent, mate. Well, yeah, as I said before, congratulations. It's great to have you on with us tonight. And guys, we're going to start off this evening with the weekend roundup. So we're going to start with the Premier League. And obviously, a big result to start us off was Chelsea going against West Bromwich Albion. And it was 5-2 to West Brom. So, Stu, I know you watched that one. Tell us all about it, my friend.
Well, I don't know if anyone's gone for that as a bet this week. Sometimes when you see a ticket come up afterwards, but that was crazy. I obviously said I don't think Tuchel was the man for the job. He went on a 14-match unbeaten run coming in. You're expecting him to win that yesterday, aren't you? Let's be honest. Who would have foreseen a 5-2? I know Thiago Silva's gone off. He's been sent off. That's helped matters. But Callum Robinson's goal, that volley, sweetly struck. You know what I mean? They went at them. Chelsea still had over 60% of the ball, even with a man advantage. But it was just an absolute. It was an onslaught in the end. But it's helped. It's helped the likes of us and Liverpool, Everton, and Liverpool, hasn't it? It's kept Chelsea, near us rather than too far up the table. So all in all, brilliant.
It really has, mate. And I saw on Twitter. I hadn't actually caught the first half of the game, and then I saw somebody put that West Brom were ticky-tacky and Chelsea apart. So I started watching. I couldn't believe my eyes that they were just tearing them to shreds. The Anye goal was cracker.
Does it lead you to believe that he can get them out of it, though? This is what I'm looking at now. I'm looking at how many games they're going to have to go. They're going to have to go 3 or 4 matches. They're going to have to win 3 of the next 4, aren't they? If he is going to get them out of it. I know it was looking too far gone, but off the back of that yesterday, which no one was expecting, crazy, absolutely crazy.
The way this season's been, anything can happen, guys.
Is he? Is Tuchel? Sorry, H.
Sorry, I was just going to say, also West Brom to me yesterday, they looked like one of the top 5, like the teams in the Premiership, just the way they were knocking that ball about. And then obviously when you mentioned with sort of Thiago Silva going up, I mean, I know he's come back after, is it like 10 or 11 matches? He's probably
10
come
games
back
out. 10 games out, yeah.
And I think it was just silly sort of late challenges. But it made a big difference. Made a massive difference. And I just love the way West Brom sort of just stuck at it. It was brilliant to see.
Sam Johnston, the keeper, with an assist as well, don't forget. Ping that ball in. Pereira's got on the end of it. He's buried it. I know we've seen keepers score goals over the years. Schmeichel, Tim Howard's done it before now. But for a keeper to get an assist, and it was just route one, wasn't it? He just punted it long. They weren't alert enough. He's got on the end of it, Pereira. You got to believe Pereira is going to be going to somebody bigger. I can see him staying in the Prem. It's too small of a club. No disrespect for the level of player he is. He'd be snapped up, no question.
Excellent, thanks, guys. On to the next one was Leeds beating Sheffield United 2-1. So Leeds took an early lead from Harrison. United equalised just before the break, and but then an own goal by Jagielka gave Leeds all 3 points in the end in that one. So it was to be expected. I think that was what I predicted. Sheffield United have unfortunately been the whipping boys, and since losing the manager, it only seems to be getting worse for them. Luck just never seems to be on their side, and when you're bottom of the league, sometimes it just doesn't come to you, does it? And that's what's happened here. So good 3 points for Leeds though. Next game to cover would be Leicester playing against Man City. Obviously, Steve, Leicester are your boys. I watched that match. I just felt like some teams come back from international break well, and some teams come back not so well. I felt like Leicester were not the same Leicester I've seen in the past few weeks. Steve, tell us all about it. What did you think, mate?
I completely agree with you, Mike. We had some really good momentum going into the international break, and it was almost that case of we could do without this international break, really, because we're on a good run of form here. We're playing well, and but look, Man City they're going to win the league. They're an absolutely fantastic team. I mean, they dominated from minute one. They just had the ball. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne he was untouchable yesterday. He was everywhere and he was linking everything up. Leicester didn't have a shot in the first half. There was a disallowed goal right on half time from Vardy. He was offside. Well taken goal, to be fair. But I mean, that would have been an absolute farce if we'd have gone in 1-0. But it was a bit of a tough watch, and a lot of people will talk about the fact that Man City did dominate, and there was a 5-minute spell in the game where Leicester had 0% possession.
Yeah,
like, literally for 5 minutes that they did not touch the ball once, and it flashed up 100%. It was like, wow, I've never seen that before. But actually, I'm gonna, with my blue tinted glasses on, I'm gonna give us a little bit of credit and say, for an hour we defended really, really well. Yes, Man City had all the ball. Yes, they had more shots, but there was only probably one clear-cut chance in that first half. And I thought Wesley Fofana, for his age and for the fact that he wasn't meant to play much this season, again, just looked like a player that's been doing it for 10 years. He just looks absolutely fantastic. So 0-0 at half-time, but then second half, we had a couple of early chances. Tielemans was unlucky, but Ruben Diaz, what a player, and what a difference he's made. And they talked about it quite a lot in the game, actually, in that we beat them 5-2 at their place earlier on in the season, and the next day they went and signed Diaz, and they've not looked back since. He has made a massive difference, and it just seems to be whoever plays alongside him plays well, whether it's Stones, whether it's Laporte, it doesn't really matter. He's an absolute leader, and it's scary to think he's only 23. So, but yeah, Benjamin Mendy scored, of all people. Great goal, to be fair. Took it really, really well. Cut back in on his right foot. Good finish. And then Leicester's nemesis in Gabriel Jesus. He always scores against us. He ended up getting the second, 75th minute. Great ball from De Bruyne again. Just pulling the strings in midfield. Completely, like a literal defence splitter. Took out 3 defenders. It pinged around a little bit, but Jesus scored, as he normally does against us. And then after that, Man City were just in control. I mean, we even took Ndidi off, just to rest him, because I think we knew the game was gone. The game just got a bit niggly. There was a few yellow cards, and Maddison, who came on, which is good to see him back, but he got kicked up in the air 3 or 4 times, which is not what I want to see, really. But yeah, it was one of those games. It's a throwaway game. I dare say that a lesser team, a lesser defensively sound team, would have probably got beaten 5 or 6 yesterday, but the way that Man City played. So I take the positives in that it was only 2. And maybe they took their foot off the brake as well, because they've got Champions League coming up. So it's one of them. We move on. We've got some touchwood favourable fixtures coming up. I think 3-4 wins cements top 4 just about. So yeah, we move on from this and go on. We've still got plenty to play for this season: Champions League, FA Cup. So yeah, I'm not too downtrodden about yesterday, to be honest.
Excellent, Steve. Excellent. And H, I'll just ask you, what do you think about Manchester City's season of dominance? Basically, they've done great, haven't they? What do you think?
They've been absolutely unstoppable, haven't they? It's just menacing, and I think I totally agree. To be fair, I thought Leicester played well. They played well to sort of hold them. And I totally agree that any other team in that situation, it could have been more of a bigger scoreline in that sense. But yeah, they're on absolute fire at the minute. Just the way they play together, the way they're gelling at the minute, it just, for me, they were the winners. the winners of the league quite a while ago for me when they were playing. So
yeah.
And Stewie, your fantasy football team has been decimated by Leicester this week. Tell us about that.
Steve spoke to me beforehand about this. He's like, "Are you sure we're playing City?" And I thought Maddison might have started because he was 75% fit. I know he's been out, Steve.
Yeah.
So I was hedging my bets that he was going to start him. I know he brought him on. He got the solitary point, but I'm gonna stick with the Leicester boys in the dream team. They've done me well. Once Barnes is back as well, he'd be going back in, let me tell you that. But let's not forget, City were slow at the start of the season. They drew a lot of games.
Slow.
Remember the start of that? And Liverpool were right up there, and they've just gone from strength to strength. It's crazy. Like.
There's still a lot to go in this season yet, lads. A lot of things could happen yet. I'll just say a quick hello as well to Chris, John, and Sonny, who are in the comments there briefly. Hello, guys. Hope you're all doing well and had a nice Easter. We'll move on next to Arsenal playing Liverpool. I'll focus on this just quickly. So, great result for Liverpool. I felt like we were came back from the international break. Quite a few of our players hadn't played internationally, so that was good. It looks like they've got rested, got their heads back together, and Arsenal were missing a few of their main men as well. So, first half still 0-0 after the first half, but I felt we dominated and did really well. Milner had an absolutely cracking chance that he probably should have scored, to be fair. And then coming back out for the second half, Trent Alexander-Arnold answered his critics, and I'm sure Gareth Southgate saw that cross right onto Jota's head when he came on, and he buried that header. And then Salah scored again, Jota scored again, and Liverpool looking back on track. I thought a great match, and Arsenal probably be a bit disappointed, but I think they are missing a few players this week. We move on to play Real Madrid on Tuesday in the Champions League, so looking like we might be a bit back on track. The commentary team actually said that we looked like champions again, like we were last season. So I thought a good performance. Stu, did you get to watch that match at all?
Absolutely brilliant. I don't want to make it about fantasy football. I was panicking. I put Jota in. Thank God he got those 2 goals. I tell you, I was panicking. This week because I'm not going to end up with a good total. So he's helped me out this week. But yeah, just back to some semblance of order. Liverpool. You look Leipzig in the Champions League as well. That wasn't easy on paper. They've done very well in the group stages, haven't they? They're a solid side. So I think you're over the worst now, Mike. It's got to be said. And I am a blue, as you know, but I'm always honest with Liverpool as well.
It can't get much worse than that little run we had, can it? What was it? from Christmas onwards, really, we had a bit of a horrid time. After we beat Crystal Palace 7-0, it just I don't think I've had many positive points or results since then. Let's move on to Southampton versus Burnley. So Southampton ended up winning 3-2. H, obviously you're a Burnley fan, my friend. Tell us what happened today. I know we had roast. Go for it, mate. You tell us.
Mate, well, I'll be honest with you. As you know, I was coming onto the show and I was really excited because I really thought that the lads would do it for me today. But again, obviously, penalty to start off with. I don't know what you guys thought. It'd be interesting to see what your thoughts are regarding the penalty. One puts it away nice and clean. In my eyes, I thought it was a penalty, but I know there was pulling and shoving a little bit earlier prior to it as well. And then obviously you've seen the knock on to sort of Vidra's goal, which was an absolute belter of a goal that was. I've not seen a goal like that for a while, to be fair with you. It was just so nicely sort of placed. And then for me, the sort of 2 goals that Southampton got in quick succession, it was just like seeing two different Burnley teams in the span of like 10, 15 minutes. And you notice where Burnley start defending in packs, and it doesn't help them at all. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you've got people like sort of Ings, he's still absolutely rapid, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Even for his age, he's still got his speed. Do you know what I mean? I need to know what diet he's on because I'd love to be on. I'm going to tell you this, lads. Curry and coconut oil's not working, obviously.
I don't think Danny Ings is on the Easter eggs, is he?
But yeah, I mean, it was superb. But again, I was really, really upset with the defence. It's just the way they all sort of fall apart. It'd be interesting to know what you lads thought about the penalty, to be fair, if you thought that was a clear-cut penalty or...
I did, yeah. I thought it was. It was very similar, I thought, to the Thiago Silva second yellow. With that, the West Brom player had a shot, Silva went in after. It was similar with that. Was it Eric Peters put the crossover? And Walker Peters went through him. I 100% a penalty for me. I'm glad the ref gave it, to be honest, because he was sent over to VAR, wasn't it? He was sent over to the monitor to go and check it. So yeah, I thought it was a pen. I'd have been very if that was Leicester playing, I'd have been very, very disappointed. Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't me.
One thing I noticed at the end was that Burnley had a good chance at the end, didn't they? Chris Wood with a header. And I think that could have been a penalty if they looked back at VAR, because if you look at that as he's diving, he's got hold of his shirt. Yeah. And I've seen penalties given for that this season. And that would have been your equaliser right near the end of the game there. So.
Yeah, well, this was the other debate. I was just going to say this was the debate on the other side, then, wasn't it? Whether, that with that sort of being a late challenge. But you're right, Mike. There's been penalties all season being given for, even though you might class that as pretty sort of, minimum sort of like a minimum sort of challenge, you may want to call it. But penalties have been given on that side. I think I personally think Burnley could have done a lot better, especially when they had the lead with sort of 2-0. I reckon. I mean, I spoke to you, Mike, saying I think they're going to park the bus, and I genuinely thought after them 2 goals they would have, because that's what Burnley. I personally think Burnley do. I mean, look back to when they sort of played Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? That's what I saw in that first 10, 15 sort of minutes. But here we are. I think we're looking at Newcastle next as well. We're at I think they're sort of below the bottom table as well, which will be an interesting challenge that as well.
H, do you think Dyche is going to get? Do you think this owner's going to get the checkbook out for Dyche? He deserves it, man. They're going to have to inject some money in. But he's done fantastic, with the squad and what he's brought through. But they've got to give him some conkers. They've got to give him some.
Definitely, 100%. And I think this has been the argument for the last few seasons, where he's not been able to purchase anyone, or he's not been able to someone at sort of high stake who's actually going to make a difference to the team. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's only time will sort of tell, but I definitely think he does deserve better, especially the way and what the input that he's done for the team. He's put us on the map. Let's be honest.
Absolutely, 100%.
Excellent, and we'll move on, guys.
Well. Sorry, Mike. Very quickly, I don't want to take anything away from Southampton. I mean, they played really good football. It was beautiful football to see them play. So I'm not taking anything away from. I guess I'm just upset about Burnley losing. That's all.
It always happens, H. It's the added time curse. If you agree to come on and be a guest, that's it. They're going to take a beating. Okay, we'll move on. We also had Newcastle versus Tottenham today, which was a bit of a surprise result. John Scott will not be happy about this. It ended up being 2-2. So Linton scored early, then Kane responded, and again, and then Willock made it 2-2. Now that, for Newcastle is an absolutely huge result, guys. They needed that. And also, as we mentioned about keeping the top of the table with all sorts happening, Tottenham, a point for them. It keeps the top of the table interesting as well. Rambo has come on and said, mark my words, Newcastle will get relegated regardless of the point today. Just look at their games. They are down. And Rambo also thinks that Everton are going to get fourth.
Go on, Rambo.
We know Sly Stallone's a big Everton fan. He had his boss there, didn't he? So good to see him. And John Scott in the comments there. Good evening, John. He's got he's editing the showcase rather than watching the game today. Disappointed. Yeah, not surprised, John. Not surprised. It's a bit of a shock result that for Newcastle. I don't think anyone had predicted that out of us guys. But interesting stuff. Steve, I'll go to you. What did you think about Newcastle Tottenham today?
I thought Tottenham were terrible for the start of the game. I thought they were really bad, and Newcastle taking the lead, and then was well deserved, and then Kane went up the other end, a fortunate goal, and that's kind of typical of Harry Kane. He gets the scruffy goals, but then not long after that he superb finish on the angle, bottom corner. Just again, a great goal, and they go in front. And then I missed some of the second half, but I believe that Kane hit the post, and then Newcastle went down the other end and made it 2-2. So fine margins. But I've just looked at Newcastle's next lot of fixtures. Yeah, look pretty tough. They do look pretty tough. Burnley next, then West Ham, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Leicester is their next 5.
It's a hard run in that, isn't
Very hard. And then obviously they've got Fulham, haven't they? Last game of the season, so it could all come down to that. Who knows? But
mentioned that last week briefly and said how exciting that match could be. And I know Stu was just mentioned as well. That really could be a decider.
It could be. It could be. Interestingly, I was out in the garden. I had the radio on, and I caught a little bit of Mourinho's interview. And the reporter said to him, your teams are known for, if you take the lead, you hold it. And he said, same coach, different players. So, and that's all he said. And he was it was a very spiky Mourinho, 2-word answers sort of interview. So he was not a happy man, as you can imagine.
Certainly. Oh, well, there you go. We'll move on to the last fixture that's just happened this afternoon. This has just wrapped up. It was a bit of an interesting match, actually. I was cooking me roast this afternoon and caught the first half, and it was 0-0. And then after the break, Stu's boy Mitrovic pounced and made it 1-0 to Fulham. I went down to get the roast out the oven to eat my dinner and came back up, and it was 3-1 to Aston Villa. What the hell?
They were in the ascendancy. They were doing great. They were going great guns. Villa didn't really offer much up until then. Mitrovic, 20-odd games without a goal, in the league, club football, but he's banging them in for Serbia in the internationals. Like, you know what I mean? I know he's been in and out. I know they've rejigged it and stuff like that, but you're not. I wasn't expecting that. I know one goal's never enough. But I thought Fulham will push on here, and they got decimated.
Yeah.
It was saying at the end of the commentary that they've lost this season 16 times from being in winning positions. Fulham, which is just, it's just crazy, isn't it, to think? And they've, we've said ever since we started the show, we've all thought, Fulham have got a chance of getting out that bottom 3 or whatever, and it just that still hasn't happened, and I'm just thinking now you're cutting it a bit close now, lads. If you're going to get out of there, it's like you're really playing the long game here.
Can I ask, what do you guys think? What do you think Fulham need to change in order for him to sort of improve? What do you guys think?
It's hard to say. I think the players play to that system. I think Scott Parker's I think he can do it. He's done well with limited resources, but I just don't know. They can be great, and then they weren't picking results up. They were losing by the odd goal. Then he got them, he was getting results again, wasn't he? It looked like they were getting out of it, but I think the squad's good enough, personally. I do. Maybe another striker, possibly. I know he had that Maja who he brought in from France. He was in the goals. He scored against us when they beat us, but I'm finding it hard. I'm struggling here. Like, they're pretty solid at the back normally. Anderson's been good at the back for him.
Yeah.
But I don't know, lads. That's my 2 cents on it.
Excellent. Now, Man United and Brighton are just about to kick off. Now, Sonny was meant to be at Old Trafford today, but I don't think that's happened, unfortunately. I'm not sure if he's been apprehended or anything like that. I don't really know. But we will be getting score updates as that match goes on. Stu, looking forward to tomorrow. We've got a couple of fixtures tomorrow, which we're going to put the predictions in at the end of the show today. Just quickly, Stu, Everton have got Crystal Palace tomorrow. What's your thoughts about that, my mate?
It's the ball's in our court now with all the results that have happened. We've got like 2 games in hand on some of the teams, but you know what Everton are like. We've dropped points against sides from the bottom. They've got to win these next 2 at least, at the very least. We're on 46 points now, aren't we? That'd take us to 52 wins, but no, in Everton, they won't make it easy. I think James is fully fit now. He's been in the periphery. We need him back in there. It's hard. There's no Decore. Obviously, Allen's in there and holding midfield, but I don't know. It's Everton. We could be brilliant tomorrow. We could be awful. They've got Zaha's back as well, isn't he? You know what I mean? They're linchpin, they're kingpin. So it will be interesting to see tomorrow night. It's at 6:00.
Hey, I wondered where you were going with that then. I thought you were trying to say Crystal Palace have no decorum for a second.
Do you know what? Do you know what's been a shame? We haven't had the three of them in the middle of the park. We haven't had James, Allen, and Doucouré fit at the same time. If they were all fit, and then obviously we got the lad we got from Mainz, Gabberman, who we signed 2 seasons ago. As me and Chris has said, he's been crocked from the get-go. He's now in full training now, so he's another holding midfielder. You know, he was highly touted. He could play centre back as well. They were saying. It'd be interesting to see what he's like, but he's been out for the last 2 years. The lad's just not had any luck, but he seems physical. He's a bigger player in there. So with Doucouré being out, I don't know if he'll make the game tomorrow night. Might be too soon, but we need to make signings. We need 2 wingers. We need another striker. Defence is all right. He's got the covering players. Maybe a right back get him in because Coleman's winding down now. I'd love Max Aarons from Norwich. I know I've said this before. That's what I'd like him to go for.
You've like set on him, haven't you, Stu?
I wanted John Joe Kenny to do well. You know what I mean? He's come through the academy, but he's obviously been on loan at Schalke. He's up at Celtic now. I don't think it's going to happen for him. I thought he was going to be the heir apparent to Coleman, but hopefully Max Aarons for about 35 million, they're saying.
Fair play. Can we have a little look at the Premier League table, guys? Let's have a little look at the top of the table, how things are panning out at the moment. So we've got Man City, outplaying out, looking like they're definitely going to bring that home, isn't it? United are playing right now against Brighton, so that'll be an interesting fixture. Leicester are right up on their heels, and then it's this 4th place thing, which could go anywhere by the looks of things. Everton with the games in hand are looking good.
Look at how minuscule our goal difference is, though. Imagine it goes on goal difference for 4. We're only on +3. Everyone 10, 15, 19, 16, 90. Everton 3. It's like 3. I'll go ballistic. If it goes on goal difference, boys. I'll tell you that now.
Anyone think you've got an Italian manager?
To be fair, though, they've been conceding, haven't they? That's been they have, for all the Italian, the way Ancelotti likes to play at the back. We've been a bit hopeless at the back in games. Other games, he shored it up, and we've been sound. Sorry, I'm jumping in, Mike.
Not a problem at all, mate. No, great analysis. That's what we like to hear. And let's have a little look at the bottom of the table, because that's pretty much we know what's going on there. Bottom of the table, so Fulham have just been in trouble, to be honest. Newcastle picking up them points has been huge, and Brighton have got 2 games in hand over them. So it was Newcastle they were going to catch if they were going to catch anybody, I think. So I think it's not looking very good at all. But as we said, it could still come down to that last game of the season. So we've got that in there, in mind. But he's going to need some results before then. Still.
I think this result today for Fulham, I think that has put another nail in the coffin, unfortunately. And to use a bit of a wrestling term, West Brom now have a bit of a momentum, don't they? And you just do not know with Sam Allardyce whether, if he picks up another 3 or 4 wins and Fulham now just sink, and you never know with Newcastle as well. They've got a draw today, brilliant again, but then they can go and lose, quite easily next week. And H will be open that, of course. We're playing Burnley, but you just never know, do you? I don't think the bottom is done and dusted, apart from Sheffield United, of course.
I think just with Newcastle's games, though, even with that game in hand, they've got the toughest running, and they've got to play each other. I think it's all to play for still, even though Fulham have dropped, they've dropped 3 points there, essentially, haven't they, today? Even if they come out of it with a draw, it wouldn't have been the end of the world, maybe. But I don't know, Newcastle are waiting on Callum Wilson to come back in. Don't think he's fully fit yet. And obviously they need Alan St. Maximin back in playing. I know he brought him on today. They're the 2 players they need in there. Callum Wilson, if he can stay fit, he's going to get him goals. He's done it, he's done it at Bournemouth. He's done it here. He's doing it at Championship level as well. So anything could happen.
Yeah,
I sort of agree. I agree. Sort of West Brom now, especially after sort of the Chelsea game, are definitely going to be feeling more sort of positive, and they're going to be sort of more charging than sort of Fulham are. Again, I see sort of Fulham sort of their confidence just drops every time, and you can see they sort of, as soon as they get behind, the players kind of stop trying as well. I mean, that's what it seems like to me when I'm sort of watching into the games. But yeah, I really see him sort of struggling to make it this season, if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, guys. And we'll move on now, guys. We've got some news from this week. So first of all, we'll mention something Stu brought to our attention earlier. The Carabao Cup. They're going to have 8,000 fans in as a trial. Stu, tell us about that. What's happened there, mate?
I think is it the same as what's happened with Leicester in the semi-final of the FA Cup, though, Steve? Is it just people from the area of Wembley that are allowed to go in that? I didn't read the ins and outs, but it was going to be. No. What I mean is, it's not that your club fans can't go. Essentially, it's people from Wembley and the surrounding area that they're going to do it, these test events with. So I'm assuming it'll be the same as the FA Cup semi-final, where it'll be people in locality to Wembley, to test it out. I assume.
I imagine so. When is the Carabao Cup final again? I can't remember. Is it
towards the end of the month, I think, isn't it? Yeah, so the back end of the month. It's later, isn't it? They moved it. I think to get fans in. I think that was the whole purpose. Normally, we'd have had it by now, the final, wouldn't we?
So it's. I've just had a quick look on a reputable news source. The Carabao Cup final between Tottenham and Man City will have 8,000 fans in attendance after it was confirmed as a pilot event to the return of big crowds. A proportion of tickets will be made available to both clubs for the game.
Oh, right, okay.
At Wembley on the 25th of April. So that's the week after Leicester's semi-final. The rest will be given to local residents in Brent and NHS staff. So some fans will be there. Some Man City and Tottenham fans will be there. So that's good.
Just a shame they can't. Yours is the week before, mate. To get some of your lot in there.
I got a bit excited when it came through on my phone. I was like, "Oh no!" Have I got any relatives that live in around near Wembley? No, I haven't. So no, but it is what it is. That will be a bit of a weird one. I was talking to a couple of people and saying, this is a huge game for both of those teams, for Leicester and Southampton, and whoever wins that game are going to be, the players are just going to be on top of the world, and they're going to be, you imagine last minute someone goes through and scores and wins the game, the players are going mad, and they look round and it's a load of neutrals just clapping like it's a friendly. It's going to be very weird. It's going to be very weird, and it might make the game itself, I don't know, a little bit of a non-event. It could be one of those that ends up being 0-0 and goes to penalties. I bloody hope not. My heart can't take it. So
you never know, though, Steve. Everyone's missed the footy so much. Whoever's there, even if they're a neutral, might just be going mad. Whatever happens.
They might just flick a coin and go, right, I'm going to support Southampton today. And then, maybe.
Everyone's got a half scarf.
Yeah. Everyone's a day tripper that day, yeah, definitely.
Oh, brilliant. And we'll just move on to one more point before we have our little midpoint break. So, guys, where is Aguero going next? So, been reading in the papers that Chelsea are leading the race currently because Aguero has said that he wants to stay in the Premier League. He believes he's still got a lot to give. He's only 32 years old. He's going to go as a free transfer. So they're saying Chelsea are leading at the moment, but his wages are quite expensive, I've heard. Something like 13 million, they were saying. So, PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, all options for Aguero. So where does everyone think he's going to end up at the end of the season?
I'm not being funny. He scored. I know he's the record scorer and all the rest of it. He's injury prone. Who in the Premier League is going to take him on? Fantastic player, not disputing that. I'm not knocking for a second. One of the best players in the Premier League of all time. But come on, who's going to take the wages on and then be worried that he's been out? He's been out most of the season this year. He's been out. He's not been fit. He's not been match fit. I think like what Sonny's saying. Maybe he goes to America. He could go to France. It's not as intense, is it, for a paycheck? China. China normally come in and start bidding for people, don't they? Who past their prime, but they can afford to pay him.
I don't see him fitting in anywhere within the Premiership in terms of any of the sort of top, especially if sort of Chelsea as well. I don't see him fitting into Chelsea. Or if he does go to Chelsea, it just seems to me he'll be used very sort of rarely, in my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure on this. I mean, Chris has just taken the words out of my mouth there. I'm not sure whether Barca can even afford his wages. I don't see him going to Real Madrid, being an ex-Atletico player. Not that really matters over there. But, Chelsea's a bit of a strange one because they seem to be leading the race from an English team point of view to sign Haaland. And I think, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd definitely be looking at Haaland over Aguero, despite, obviously it's going to be Haaland. The Haaland deal is going to be 150 million in transfer and God knows what in wages. So I think it's a tough one. The other team I've heard mentioned is Independiente back in Argentina.
Spiritual roots.
Yeah, but I say he is very injury prone. He is only 32, so I don't know.
Hey,
I'm really not sure.
If the board could afford his wages at Everton, I wouldn't turn it down. He's going to be.
To be fair, I wouldn't.
He's still going to want 400 or 500 grand a week.
Want a lot.
It's just he's too injury prone, and he's been fantastic. But the older he's getting, the more time he seems to be out.
Just before we go to break, I've got one last little question for you. Little quiz, fingers on the buzzers. Does anyone know why he has Kun Aguero on the back of his shirt?
No.
No.
Jake, any idea?
No idea.
You're not going to believe this because I looked it up because I just thought it just puzzled me. I was like, why does it say that on the back of his shirt? I looked to see if it was his name. I thought it might be a family name or something. It's the name of his favourite cartoon character. Would you believe? It's from a manga cartoon called Kumkum or something, where like this basically this little kid or whatever, he gets in trouble and gets put in like detention at the end of each episode, and he's called Kun Kun, and that's his nickname when he was little. So that's why he's gonna get on his shirt.
Just do what Facundo Sava did for Fulham years ago. Put a mask on and pretend to be your favourite superhero. What's he putting on the back of his shirt for? Like, nobody else has done it, have they? Not to my knowledge.
Strange.
Just the strangest bit of fact I've read all day.
I thought it might be like his second, like his middle name or something.
I thought it was his name as well. I thought it was like a nickname, yeah.
I thought it was his middle name, yeah.
Abbreviation for something, Mike.
We'll have to check that is a true fact, guys. It may just be something I've invented for you specifically for today's little treat. But yeah. Anyway, excellent. We're just going to have a brief break now, and we'll be back with you in just a moment's time. So this is what you can expect to see on Powered 4 TV in the next couple of weeks.
Powered 4 TV, the revolutionary force in sports streaming entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the 37th annual WWE WrestleMania! To celebrate the biggest show of the wrestling calendar, Powered 4 brings you a week of shows only on Powered 4 TV, Facebook, and YouTube. It's WrestleMania!
I know that voice from somewhere.
It was brilliant. Sounds very much like Vince McMahon. Looking forward, obviously, to WrestleMania next weekend. We will have a special WrestleMania added time for you next week. And I know there's so much going on Powered 4 this week for you guys to check out. So make sure to tune in right the way through the week. But we've still got loads to cover this evening, guys. First thing to go to is I want to chat about England playing Poland this week. What did everyone think of the England match this week? I think we'll go to Steve for this one. Steve, what did you think of England midweek?
I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. Do you know what? When you started talking, I was thinking, "Don't come to me. Don't come to me."
These are the things we can discuss beforehand.
I saw some highlights. It seemed fine. Good goal by Maguire at the end there. Shame that John Stones made that mistake. I mean, he's been solid all season. He's had a fantastic season, and he's made that mistake. And then, all of a sudden, people are kind of on him. Oh, is he good enough? And yeah, he is good enough. He is good enough. And stick with him. I think he's definitely got a start for me. So yeah, we'll see on that one. Well, I'm going to say
update for you as well, and it's probably a good job that Sonny isn't at Old Trafford. Brighton have taken the lead against Man United. So
Danny Welbeck scored.
Always happens, lads. Always happens.
People.
So yeah, well there you go. So interesting, but we'll have to see how that pans out as we carry on. I was going to say at the beginning of the England match, Sterling was absolutely tearing their defence to shreds, and I've not seen him like that since he was at Liverpool, I don't think. And he won that penalty for Kane, which he dispatched really well, straight down the centre. Goalie didn't have a chance. And then, it was a bit of a stupid goal to give away by Stones. He didn't need to be dilly-dallying with the ball there, to be fair to him. And then, but to be fair as well to him, he came in on a corner, he puts the header perfectly back, and Maguire thumped it home. So, that puts England top of the group, 3 wins out of 3 games. Hungary are on 7 points, Albania 6, Poland are on 4, and Andorra and San Marino are just end up being the whipping boys in that group, unfortunately for them. They both on 0 points. So, I think it's looking good for England at the moment in that aspect. And going into the Euros as well, it's good for Southgate to have his team having a bit of a runabout and, playing competitive matches leading up to the Euros, because otherwise, he wouldn't have a clue what team to play. And we already know what a challenge he's got picking from all the different players who are available to him. So, I think it'll be interesting to see.
Mike, can I quickly ask you regarding Trent? Do you think Trent should be part of the squad yourself, or?
Oh yes, certainly. Now I think I'll agree that he's not at the best seasons, but what I'm hoping is, we spoke briefly about it last week. We were hoping that he'd been left out of the squad as a bit of a kick up the arse, basically.
Yeah, I think it was.
And seeing his performance yesterday, he seemed a lot more energetic, along with a lot of Liverpool players. Seemed a lot more energetic, and that cross he put in was an absolute belter. And you saw he celebrated the cross that he put in. He knew exactly what he'd done there, and he can do that, and he can unlock a defence with a cross like that, which is invaluable. People say that his defence might not be so great, but if Stones and Maguire start playing well as a centre-back pairing, it's not going to matter as much if he is attacking up the field. And, it's important to get them goals. What's this? Carnage Payne has said they should cancel the Poxy Euros, just make it under 21 instead so players can rest up. That is a point. It is a point, but I think you've got to get that tournament in. One thing I thought was the sticker album that they've released. They had them stickers out in the shops last year. They're a year old. What squad are they going to have in? That was one of my favourite things as a kid, collecting the sticker books and everything. And it's already a couple of grand to complete the sticker book. My lad completed must have been the World Cup before he completed that sticker album. I'm still paying for it now. But let's crack on with the other results. So Wales had 2 good matches last week, Stu. Beat Mexico, and then the big one was against the Czech Republic. So tell us about that one, Stu. What happened there?
I tell you what, for a 1-0 game, it had a bit of everything. This one had a bit of everything. I'll tell you that right now. Two players sent off in the game. They had Patrick Schick, who plays for Leverkusen. He was sent off. He's scored a lot of goals, international level and club level. He was at Leipzig before that. Anyway, he goes off in the 48th minute. Czech Republic probably had the better of it in the first half on the balance of play. We got back into it. We had Connor Roberts sent off late on. Luckily, we get a goal. Dan James wasn't really getting marked very well. Bale puts a hell of a ball in. But the thing that triggered that goal, Kiefer Moore, the big beanpole that he is, he had 3 players. 3 players that were around him. So Dan James basically only had 1 guy there. There was nobody really challenging him for the header. So they know Kiefer Moore's a bit of a problem. Literally, there was 3 players on him before Bale's put that ball in. He's come short, if you like, and a good performance. 2 great challenges as well in the game. James Lawrence earlier on, he put a hell of a tackle in early in the second half, I think it was. Also towards the end, Joe Rodon slid in. It was probably going to be the equaliser. He's managed to slide. It's gone over the bar. But on the balance of it, we've obviously got a game in hand on the Czech Republic and Belgium. And don't forget, Belgium and the Czech Republic drew. But it's gonna be us when we go to Prague to play. That's going to be the game, I think, for the team that gets second, to be honest with you. But great result. Czech Republic, the teams have been doing well in Europe at club level, and we've got Souček, we've got Koufal in the Premier League. It was I was surprised. I was surprised we won that one. We're a young team, really. If you take Bale out the equation, Ramsey's injured, but Neco Williams as well, Mike. He looked really good. He put a good ball in for Bale. He's shot the ball. He's hit it downwards. Keepers saved it. Good chance. Some good young talent coming through. There's some really good players. I wouldn't have Giggsy back as manager. I wouldn't have Giggsy back. I don't know how much information's getting filtered to Robert Page because he's an interim charge. I'd give it Robert Page. Giggsy's always had issues, outside of things. Get rid. And if they're not going to go with Robert Page, give Chris Coleman the job, because we had our best tournament in 2016 at the Euros.
And as you mentioned, Belgium top of the group at the moment with 7 points. Belgium top of the group with 7 points. Czech Republic are in second, but you've got a game in hand over them. Yeah. So we're looking really good for you. Elsewhere, Scotland beat the Faroe Islands 4-0. That's to be expected. Faroe Islands, unfortunately, the whipping boys in that group. They've got Denmark, Israel, and Austria in their group. So that's going to be a tough group for them. But Scotland looking good at the moment. And the big surprise result of the week was Germany losing 2-1 to North Macedonia. Did anyone see the highlights from that? I certainly did. Not only that, but Emre Can should have had a penalty against him, from what I could see. That definitely looked like a foul.
Mike, wasn't it the first time Germany have lost the qualifier since losing to England in 2001, they were saying?
Yeah. That was it, yeah. Madness to think they've done so well, but then
5-1,
come on, unstuck there, unfortunately.
That's mental.
I still think they'll qualify, but it just shows anyone can win. Well, what are they? 65th in the world, did they say?
Something like that.
Yeah, madness. Yeah. Right, guys. So that's great. We've covered all the international results there. Now, something I saw on TV last night, which I thought was quite interesting, was the top 10 hard men in football on the BBC. Did anyone get a chance to watch that at all?
There's only one man. There's only one man at the top of that. I've not seen it, Mike. He better be high up in that chart.
Well, I'll just tell you. So it was Alan Shearer, Micah Richards did the top 10. I'm going to go with Micah's top. That's it. Yeah, no, they did. They did it.
I know. I thought you were saying Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer. No.
They each did a variation. I think I'll just run through. They were mainly sort of focused on Micah Richards. So I'll just run through the top 10 quickly, and then you can each have a quick say of your opinions and tell us any stories you've got of any hard men you've seen. So 10, Diego Costa was number 10, and Shearer said he was a pest and a nuisance, and suggested that he should put Tony Adams in instead of him, basically. Number 9 was Julian Dix, so definitely a hard man. He showed a few of his more violent challenges and tackles there. And there was some stuff you would have been proud of, H, from the wrestling, I tell you. 8 was David Batty. So they said about him having a fight with Graham Rousseau out in Russia. And I will never forget, guys, there was Tunisia played England in the World Cup. It must have been World Cup 98. And we were allowed to watch it in geography in school. And David Batty overhead kicked one of the Tunisians in the face. And they just kept repeating it on BBC. And the whole, bearing in mind, there was like a whole class worth of we must have been, 16, 17-year-olds watching that. And they kept replaying it. Every time they replayed it, just the cheers got louder and louder every time. I'll never forget that. So anyway, 7th was Stuart Pearce. 6th was Patrick Vieira. Roy Keane came in at 5th. Vidic was 4th. Jaap Stam was 3rd. Vinnie Jones 2nd. And then in first place, can anyone guess, Stu?
I'm glad he was at the tip. And I'll tell you, I'll tell you for why as well. Forget what he did on the football field. All right, sometimes it's a bit like, what you doing, Dunk? What you doing? You've seen red. But don't forget, what about those two gentlemen who tried to rob his house? and he held one of them captive. Don't forget, he battered the pair of them. But I want to know, what two numbskulls decide to try and rob Duncan Ferguson's house?
You know what? I don't think they knew. I think they were gutted.
They can't have. They can't have known.
Yeah, because nobody in the right mind would think about robbing Dunk's house.
Do you know what I'm worried about when he puts that subs board up and the added time board? We use him, don't we, at the moment? I'm worried he's going to harpoon someone over the end of it.
That picture that just flashed up there where Jimmy Bullard's laughing at him, that was funny as well. Yeah, that one, because I think that's against Wigan, isn't it? And
Paul Sharma.
I think he just punches him in the stomach, doesn't he? And Bullard's looking at Bullard because, are you all right, mate? It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I actually watched it last night as well, and I think it was Micah Richards that was saying that he even seen people like Roy Keane walk away from Big Dunk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what made him sort of have him right at the top of his list. But he was watching him he was a little bit before my time, but I watched him for all the stories. But he was brilliant, absolute class, just to watch. And let's be honest, none of us would mess with him, would we? To be fair, so.
My dad saw Everton win when we were amazing in the 80s. My dad's seen when we were winning everything. We had a quality team, brilliant team. Duncan is still his favourite player to this day. Yeah. He said we were winning things with a hell of a squad in the 80s. But Dunk is my favourite. Like Chris said, just to reiterate what Chris said there, hero, absolute hero, a lunatic, but that's why we loved him.
I was at the King Power the day that he strangled Stefan Freund. I was there, and as he walked off, he turned to the crowd and did a gesture to the crowd, and we all gave him stick. I felt really hard from the stands. He was on the halfway line, but in all honesty, I thought, oof, if he comes tear-assed into this stand now, I'm off.
I had Sky Sports News on for that, but they couldn't show you what had happened. So you're listening to a lower verbal from the lads in the studio. But you're waiting to see what's he done now. What has he? What can he? And don't forget, years before he had prison time when he headbutted that guy up in Scotland.
Yeah,
and he was still a lunatic when he came out, but we still love him all the same.
There was a clip they showed where he had Martin Keown in a cross-faced chicken wing at one point.
That's class, yeah. I think I'm sure he threw sort of Sol Campbell halfway across the flipping line. Well, did he? And Sol Campbell's not a small guy; he's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
I was at a game in 98, 99. It would have been Christmas against Coventry. Big Paul Williams at the back, an absolute tank of a centre half, and they've both gone up for the ball. He's clattered, and Paul Williams is bigger than Dunk. He's a bigger lad. He was a unit. He was crumpled in a heap. He just went up for the ball. And you're like, what is it? It was just like, I'm surprised he didn't get sent off then, actually.
Did you think, Mike, anyone should have been on that? Like, it was somebody missed out on that list? Because I was thinking of a couple of guys who were missed out. So,
yeah, there was a few they mentioned, like from back in the day, people that we might not have known ourselves, guys from our sort of age group. But Shearer definitely put out a few good ones. But Tony Adams was one of them who was pretty solid. I always thought Razor Ruddock was a bit of a tough guy for us.
Razor was tough, yeah.
Yeah, but
I thought Cantona would be on there as well, to be fair.
Yeah, I think he was he obviously had that incident at Crystal Palace, didn't he, where he fly kicked somebody? But I think
there was with Cantona, they were saying I'm pretty sure it's in Roy Keane's book. So coming from another hard man. After the Crystal Palace incident, there was a lot of hate for Cantona, and Manchester United offered Cantona security, and he just kind of looked at him and went, "I don't need security. I'm fine. I can look after myself." And he could. I mean, the one thing about that Palace incident is obviously he jumped into the crowd, gave him a karate kick. But the thing people don't talk about is the punch he does afterwards on the fan. He absolutely flattens him. Cantona was a definite hard man. Keown wasn't one to be messed with. I remember he had a bit of a stint at Leicester, not overly successful. And I remember one game, a corner came in, and he went to head it away, and the attacker came running in. Keown got to the ball first, and he headed the side of Keown's head. Now, you'd think that it'd be Keown that'd be on the floor. Yeah. Keown rubbed the side of his head. The centre forward was on the floor crying. He just rubbed his head and carried on running. But we had the one for me. I didn't expect him to be on this list because a lot of it kind of happened down in what is now the Championship. But Steve Walsh for Leicester, who is a hero of mine, my first favourite Leicester player, and still is actually. But I think he holds the record for the most red cards in English football. He got 14 in his career, and him and Steve Bull, they used to have some almighty run-ins.
Just don't have him as a director of football.
Different Steve Walsh. Steve Walsh.
He was all right. He was all right for you. Like when he came to us, they send the bloke to Italy. You've got 8 targets to go and sign. And he didn't come back with one. It was like, come on.
Yeah, it's a different one, Stewie. Different one. Same name, different bloke. No, it is. Yeah.
I thought it was the same guy.
No, different. Steve Walsh, the Leicester legend, completely different to the.
I thought he was our director of football as well. I thought it was the same guy who played for Leicester.
No, different guy. Different guy.
I've had it wrong all along.
Yeah.
all this time, you could have given him a dig, Stu.
No, Steve sorted that one out now.
Right, guys, we're going to move on now. Just one thing to mention. Sonny saying Man United are not looking too sharp there at Old Trafford. So, interesting one there. We're now going to do the Cool Wall. So this is a new part of the show, which we introduced last week. Last week, we were talking about legend, decent, bang average, lacking, or crap. The Cool Wall, they're the people we spoke about this week. And this week, instead of putting people into it, I believe we're going to have a couple of retro kits to have a look at. So, Director, if you want to show us the first kit, and we'll get everyone's opinions on that. Ooh. There we go. It's over Steve's face today, but
it's that bad.
It's that Man United kit. There's a bit of a story about this one, guys, which I will tell you. So this was the kit they wore, I believe, on the 13th of April, 1996, which is 25 years ago. United were losing 3-0 at half-time against Southampton at the Dell, and they were wearing this kit. I think they were wearing it with white shorts on the day as well. But basically, Fergie got them in at half-time and said, this is terrible, blamed it on the kit. And they came out in the second half in a blue and white kit instead. They're over the third kit. So they actually changed kits at half-time. So, was it because they couldn't see what was going on? It couldn't see each other or something in the crowd. But
I don't know how believable that is really, because sort of playing football when I was before sort of my wrestling time, we had a kit that was actually very similar. To be fair with you, well, I don't know. Did it work? Did it work for them in the second half? Or
well, they ended up being 3-1, so they had a better second half performance, but they still didn't win the game. They did go on to win the league that season though, and I think that was the last time they wore the kit. And I think Umbro did something whereby when they brought out the next away kit, they gave everybody a tenner off because anyone who had this one, they gave them a tenner off because they'd only wore this one about 5 times. They never won wearing it, and they had 1 draw and 4 or 5 losses wearing this kit. So it was cursed. It was like the that England one I've got up behind me there, the grey England kit as well. That was the Gareth Southgate special. Yeah, penalty shootout, that one. But okay, lads, tell us what you think. So we're going to put them into the table. So what did you think? I will go first and say I thought it was bang average. That kit doesn't really stand out in my mind. So H, what do you reckon?
Yeah, it's not anything special, is it? To be fair, and I think if it's cursed, then I'd class it as crap as well. To be fair.
Yeah. And Steve.
It's famous for all the wrong reasons, isn't it? So, whilst it probably, people will always talk about that kit, you look at it, forget the history behind it, actually looking at it, it's pretty crap, isn't it? So it's got to, for me, it's got to go in lacking or crap. I think it's not the nicest of shirts, regardless of the history behind it.
Yeah, and Stewie, what do you reckon?
It's going in the crap, but I'll tell you what, just going back to that game, let's not forget the Dell. The Dell was a tough place to go coming away from the kit. What we're talking about. Yeah. The Dell was always a tough place to go and get a result. The Tizier pulling the strings in the middle. But I remember a lad in school, he had that kit with Lee Sharp on the back. He was gutted. after the game had happened, he's like, we're never going to wear it again. I said, that'll be a collector's item that in years to come. Keep hold of it. Keep hold of it.
Well, I think it's going in the crap because there's comments going in off YouTube and everything. So one last thing was it was actually designed as a way as leisure wear for fans, so it could be worn as a football shirt for the players and as leisure wear. So there you go. I'll go with you guys. Next. Yeah. All right. So Thierry Henry there in the Arsenal one, a bit of maroon and gold. What do we reckon? That's a bit of a snazzy one, isn't it? So is that the kit they wore when they were undefeated?
I think it was, yeah. I think so.
Wasn't it the last season? Wasn't it the last season at Highbury as well when they had that kit before they went to the Emirates? If memory serves, that one.
I'm not sure.
That's quite a smart maroon claret kit. Steve, I'll let you go first on this one. Where would you put it in the table for the cool wall?
I'd put it in decent. It's nice. The gold O2 logo. I quite like the badge in the middle of the shirt rather than to the side. That looks quite nice. It's and I guess it's I'm pretty sure it's the Invincible season. My mate who's an Arsenal fan, if he's watching this, he's probably screaming right now, saying, no, it isn't. But no, it's not. It was the year after or something. But no, it's one of those shirts you look at it and you immediately think, Thierry Henry, and so, yeah, it's a nice shirt. Decent for me.
Yeah, excellent. H, what do you reckon, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, looking at this kit, it just reminds you of the team, doesn't it? A great team that they had. Then, do you know what I mean? With your Henry, your Robert Perez, your Freddie Ljungbergs, and all sorts. So yeah, and I actually like the look of this as well, and I think it was one of the first that did the badge in the middle, as well as the sponsor as well. So yeah, I think it is quite cool actually. Again, decent, yeah.
Excellent, Stu. What do you reckon?
It's just like it's nice and plain, isn't it? But not supporting the club, I wouldn't have said, I'd go for that. If that was in Everton blue, would I go for it? It's very, very understated, isn't it? Different to what they had. It was 2005, 2006 this year, by the way.
So last one before the move.
So they did the Invincibles 03-04, didn't they? They had the season with the red and the white kit that they had when they beat Spurs. Was it 5-4? And then it was that season. Then I think it was to tie in with Highbury. Them demolishing Highbury, but put it in the decent, bang average decent. I'm half and half, Mike.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. And just to ask one little question, and I've got a few friends who are Arsenal fans. Was Arsenal's is this based on an original kit or an old-fashioned kit that they had? Is it? Or did they have like a claret kit to start out? Did they or something?
They must have done somewhere down the line, mustn't they? Years before.
I'll do my research on that. I always like to look where the ideas for the kits come from, especially like away kits and changed kits. It's always good to see, where the influence for them came from. So excellent. I think we're going to put that into the decent column. T Carnage is not a fan of it. He likes the Dreamcast one, which would have been the season or two before. So put that in the decent one. Let's have a look what we've got next. Oh yeah, I recognise that. My little brother had this one with McManaman on the back when he was little. So this is the I think 95-96, the green and white, and then Liverpool did a very similar version in about 2017, like a remake of this kit even. So this is a classic. But Liverpool have had yellow and yellow away kits for a long time, from back in about the 50s, 56, 57 season was yellow kits, and then about the start of the 90s, we started having the green coming into it a bit more, and we've used that predominantly in a lot of our away kits and third kits. Obviously, the current one when we played Arsenal, so we're playing in the Liver Bird teal kit that we've got at the moment. Sticking with that theme. But this was a classic kit for us, so I definitely put this in the decent column because I didn't have it, but my brother did. H, what do you think of that one?
I actually like this one. To be fair, it stands out. And on top of that, I don't know whether it reminds me of the Champions League, whether they were in the Champions Leagues at the time where they had this or not. It may not be, but it just does remind me of that sort of era, really. But
like
yeah,
UEFA Cup at that time. We were probably playing.
UEFA Cup, yeah, spot on. Yeah, definitely. I like this one. I'd put it as a decent.
See, what did you think, matey?
Yeah, I'd put it in decent. I'd say it's quite iconic for a Liverpool away shirt. I always joke that Liverpool's away shirts are pretty bad. Actually, I always think
the cream one above me there.
Yeah, I always think that they're pretty bad Liverpool away shirts. But this is it's iconic, made by Adidas, Carlsberg sponsor. Yeah, it screams 90s at me. It's got the massive sleeves and whatnot. So yeah, I'd put it in decent, mate.
Classic Premier League stuff. Stu, what do you think?
I've got to be careful what I say here, but it reminds me of the FA Cup final '96. Obviously, going back, Cantona scoring that goal. That is what triggers me. Also, Michael.
Here we go. That was that match. Stu with them beautiful cream suits there.
Mike, how come the graphics for the Liverpool bit are massive as well? Have you been paying rich? Have you on the side on the sly?
No, he's just got the skills to pay the bills. He knows what's going on today. And there's more Liverpool shirts on the screen now than in the match yesterday.
I'm gonna have to. I do like it because it's a Liverpool shirt. I'm gonna have to put it in bang average because I'll get chastised. I'll get chastised off the back of this if I put it in decent or legendary. You know what I mean?
All right, Stu. We know you like it, really.
Yeah, no, it's a nice looking shirt. It's just the wrong club, isn't it?
Brilliant, guys. That's great stuff. Have we got any more, Rich? Or is that us wrapped up for the old cool wall? I think we're done with that. So that was great stuff. We're going to move on to predictions for next week. Now we're going to start with Monday night fixtures because we didn't get a chance to chat about them last week. So Everton versus Palace. I'll start it off. I went for 2-1 to Everton against Crystal Palace. We'll go around Stu first, then H, then Steve. So Stu, Everton Palace, what's your prediction?
I'm gonna go for a 2-0. That's my heart really over my head, but hopefully we can get a clean sheet. Need to win. The game's in hand. We need to win as well. I know we've got Villa coming up as a game in hand. So 2-0 Everton. I'll go with on that one for the Blues.
And H?
I'm gonna go with 3-1 Everton.
Excellent, Steve. What do you reckon?
1-0 Everton.
1-0 Everton. Excellent. Then we've got Wolves against West Ham. Now, I've already made my predictions for this last week, so I put 2-1 to West Ham. Stewie, what do you reckon?
Moisey's doing well, isn't he? But we need West Ham to lose these games, Mike. Somewhere down there, we need Wolves to come out, pull out the bag. I don't know. They can be a bit indifferent, Wolves, can't they? I'm gonna go with a 1-0 Wolves in this one. It's gonna be quite tight. I'm gonna go with Wolves to beat them, but Moisey's made them hard to beat. Like, to be fair to him.
Yeah, and H, what do you reckon, buddy?
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with West Ham 1-0 on this one.
Fair enough. And Steve?
1-1.
1-1. Excellent. And then Friday night fixture is Fulham versus Wolves again. So Fulham in action twice this week in close proximity to each other. Now, this is going to be a huge game for Fulham. And, the thing... I've wrote my results down, but I'm questioning myself now because I can't see Wolves losing twice in a week. But I've gone for 1-0 to Fulham. so I'm going to stick with it. Stu, what do you reckon?
I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw in this one. Yeah,
1-1.
1-1.
I'm going to go with Wolves as a 2-1 in this one.
Yeah, and Steve?
Tough one. I think Fulham are they're gonna be so gutted after today. 2-1 Wolves.
Oh, he's gone against them. All right, we'll move on to next Saturday. So we've got Manchester City versus Leeds. I went for Man City 3, Leeds 0 in that one. I think Man City will win that, unfortunately. Stu?
I'll go 3-1 City in that one.
Yeah, H?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-0 with Man City on that one.
And Steve?
3-1, Man City.
Excellent. Next match we've got is Liverpool playing Aston Villa next Saturday at 3 o'clock. I went for Liverpool getting a bit of revenge against Villa and winning 2-1 in that one. Stewie, what do you reckon?
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool win.
And
yeah, I'm going to go the same. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool, yeah.
Steve?
7-2 Liverpool. No.
We owe them.
Yeah. No, I think 3-1 to Liverpool.
Okay, excellent. Then we've got Palace taking on Chelsea. I went for Chelsea winning 2-0 in that one, getting a bit of revenge for what happened yesterday, whenever it was. Losing track. Easter.
You know what? I'm going to go Palace. I'm going to go Palace to. I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to go. I think Chelsea. I need Chelsea to lose again. He'll start losing the plot, Tuchel, now. And my prediction will come true. The sinister minister there at me fiery cauldron with two.
The mystic mad dog and the
yeah. But you, as well, yeah.
Excellent. H, what do you reckon, buddy?
I think especially after what happened with Chelsea with West Brom, I think they're going to come back with some sort of hard hitting sort of revenge. So I'm going to go 3-0 to Chelsea on this one.
Okay, buddy. And T, what do you reckon?
2-0 Chelsea, but I would not be shocked if Palace win. Wouldn't surprise me, but I am going to go Chelsea. It makes more sense.
Like betting on 5 horses in a 5-horse race. That's it.
Okay. It might also be a draw. Who knows?
Win, lose, or draw.
Yeah,
something's going to happen.
There's going to be a result.
All right, on to Sunday's matches. So we've got Burnley, H's team, taking on Newcastle, who are in desperate need of points. I think the way both teams have been playing, I do think Burnley will win. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Burnley. Stu, what are your thoughts?
I don't want to let H down here. I think Burnley, Dyche has made the stern stuff. The team's made the stern stuff. Like they'll come back. We'll go for. I'm going to go 3-1 Burnley in this. Chris right. Woods get a couple again. I reckon maybe Vidra or Rodriguez with the other. Whoever he starts.
Top man. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that as well because I think they've definitely got something to prove, and I think they can work on sort of the defending aspect this time around. What happened to with Southampton, and I think Dyche will be the man just to kind of nip that in the bud now for this next match.
Just going back to the curse quickly, H. If you say that Newcastle will win 5-0 or something, that means Burnley will probably win 5-0.
That's how it works.
Okay, Steve, what do you reckon, man?
I'm going to go 2-0 Burnley.
Excellent. Then we've got an interesting fixture, which is West Ham versus Leicester now. Leicester, I just feel like they haven't come back from that international break. You'd hope that they'd be playing back at form next week, but I'm not sure about it after how they played this weekend. So I'm going to go for 2-0 to West Ham. Sorry, Steve, but I've just got Moisey is well drilled. Stewie, what do you reckon about that, matey?
I'm thinking the first score that comes to my head for this one's a 2-2. I think 2-2 draw in this one.
And ballerinas every time he starts thinking too hard, he just sees ballerinas.
I know Steve wants to win. Like they need to get back on winning teams. I think a draw down in London for Leicester on that one.
And H, what do you reckon, buddy?
I'm going to go with Leicester 1-0 on this one.
Yeah.
Good man.
And Steve, what do you think, my mate?
2-0 Leicester. Not a problem.
Get them results cranking
Famous
back up.
Last words.
We've then got a huge one, which is John Scott's Tottenham taking on Sonny's Man United. So I've gone for a 1-1 in this one. But Stewie, what do you reckon?
If they play like they played today, and the way United can be when they can just turn it on, I think I'll go 3-1 United in this one. I think they're going to struggle. I really do. I think United are on the day they can bang a lot of goals in, can't they? I know they've had a couple. They had that 1-0 against West Ham, but I can see the way Tottenham are at the moment. I'm sure John Scott will agree with me. You can only probably go for a United win on current form.
Yeah,
fair enough. And H, what do you reckon, buddy?
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. I think it'll be 3-0. 3-0 United, I think.
Okay, and Steve?
0-0.
0-0.
It's Jose, isn't it?
We're both going to defend stoically there. Right, and the final fixture of the weekend next week is Sheffield United taking on Arsenal. I've gone for 2-0 Arsenal for this one. I think they'll be not happy about this result they've had this weekend, and I think Sheffield United might take the brunt of it. What do you think, Stu?
Sheffield United, Heckingbottom's not going to. He's not going to sort out, is he? He's not going to get them. They're just Arsenal back with a win. It's just they should never have let him go.
That's what I've been saying.
So
what do you reckon, Hey?
Yeah, I think Arsenal need the win more than anything, really. Especially sort of after the performance, and especially with sort of Mikel Arteta was quite up front, and he took the blame for his team, didn't he? And and I think he'll definitely have it sort of reconfigured for this time, and especially against who they're playing, definitely. 2-0. 2-0,
fair enough. And Steve?
Yeah, comfortable 4-0 for Arsenal, I think.
A whipping, crikey!
Yeah,
shouldn't have let Wilder go. I know he fell out with the owners and all the rest of it, but he was the man to get them back up from the Championship. It's going to be hard. They're going to struggle. They're going to lose players. They're going to go 100%. They're not getting paid. They're not paying him the money, are they? Your Lundstroms and players like that, the guys that got him up. There's going to be problems at that club. I can see it a mile off.
Sinister Stu with his prediction there.
Fiery cauldron. People with pitchforks.
We'll edit that in for you next week, Stu. I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for being involved today. I hope everyone's enjoyed the show. Thanks so much for everyone who's commented and got involved. Steve, I'll come to you first. Where can we find you on social medias for anyone who wants to check out any more stuff about yourself? Where do you do all your business?
Well, I'm on Twitter, not overly active, but I am there. SPW_85. I'll be on there moaning about Leicester probably, and obviously, the Games and Grats podcast is everywhere.
Excellent. Yeah, make sure to check that out. I'm sure you're going to have loads coming up this week for
I've got a busy week. Yeah, so I got the week off.
Brilliant. Hey, well, there's so much coming from that and from Powered 4 TV. Stewie, what have Stu's Wrestling Podcast got coming up in the next week or two?
We have got Mahabali Shearer for Impact Wrestling, should I say, coming on. God, poor plug that was. Just want to say thank you to Justin Clapper for getting me Mr. Shearer from Impact Wrestling. So that is coming out. And also Chili Willy ECW Original. I've got to thank Justin Clapper from Wrestling Travel again. I've got Chili Willy on the week after. So yeah, look out for those 2 episodes there coming out soon. And Big Fight Weekly. Mike, you know it because you got in touch with him. Dave Faulkner, former Ultimate Fighter contestant, is on the show on Big Fight Weekly on Tuesday. We've got Big Dave coming on. Looking forward to that.
Brilliant. So that'll be great. Dave's an absolute legend, great guy. And Justin Clapper as well. What brilliant there, Stu. Well done. Yeah. And H, tell us where can we find you in the next few weeks? And what have you got coming up for us, buddy?
Just you could give us a follow on Instagram, which is Shekel Sham, and just I'll be keeping you up to date with some of the movies and sort of acting stuff that's coming up. Hopefully, I get to do some filming on set as well behind the scenes. Hopefully, you can see a few pranks happening as well at the same time. But thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on here, and thank you for being so welcoming.
No worries at all, mate. It's always great to chat to you, and you've done brilliantly. I'd just like to say thank you, everybody. It's been an honour to present today. Look forward to catching up with everyone during the week for leading up to WrestleMania. Thank you to our director, Rich, obviously, who's done a brilliant job with the graphics and getting everything planned out for today's show. If you've enjoyed the show, please comment, share, like, and make sure to tune in next week when we have episode 10, a special WrestleMania edition. And we've got Champions League football, Premier League football, all sorts of action coming up. And we'll see you then. So thanks very much for joining us. I've been the Mad Dog, Mike Angus, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody.
See ya.
From the examination
Steve,
of the
thanks,
galaxies of space, images begin to
That's it.
appear.
We can stay on,
Images
guys,
of
for another minute.
strange
Look,
and powerful
This must have been
forces.
sorted.
But of all the forces in the universe, the two most powerful, John Scott and SP3, prepare to explode. Champion versus champion. Legend versus legend. It's the ultimate challenge. It's WrestleMania!